Because of our relationship with Hunter Technical, him and his wife write a lot of code for the NEC, which is the electrical code. They sit down, they sit on the board, they are part of the board, so we're able to talk to him about certain questions and certain understanding of what's going on and incorporate some of that stuff into the box or get the code changed so that it is more of a definition, because one of the things that we had a problem with is that when you hit that E-stop, everything's supposed to disconnect, all wires, everything, so that they have no problem, no potential out there for an arc of any type. Well, you really don't want the ground wire to disappear, but the code stated that or was interpreted like that. So all across the United States, people were doing it differently. Some people were disconnecting the ground wire, some people were not. So we got with Randy and was able to get him to change the code to specifically state ground wire is never disconnected. It's in 514 for gas stations, so that language is in there because of him and us, knowing what we have to do and how we've been interacting with all these other jurisdictions across the United States. Because we're just not here in Las Vegas, we go everywhere. We go from Maine to Florida and then to the West Coast, Washington, California.
Well, I'm Randy Hunter with Hunter Technical Services. We actually come in and we teach electrical code. And when we teach electrical code, we may teach items that are required for them to pass certification tests. We may teach code updates. The code changes every 3 years, and so as the code changes, to keep the employees abreast of the changes in the code and how it affects them in the field as they do their work. It's a good practice for us to take the time to teach them the changes and then so they can apply it in the field. Some of the changes don't apply to anything that they may do, but it's just good knowledge for them to have, and it keeps them up to date on their certifications. Every 3 years they have to recertify as their journeyman's card, and this allows them to get those classes here in-house rather than have to go spend a Saturday or Sunday or evenings to take the classes to continue their education in the electrical industry. Depending upon the classes that we teach, sometimes we have worksheets, we have problems, sometimes we work out of books that we've published. Hunter Technical Services is a combination of my wife and myself. She's an electrical engineer for a wire manufacturer, and we created Hunter Technical Services as an educational group. A lot of what we do in support of nonprofit organizations like that for electrical education, and we create workbooks, we create study guides, and depending upon the subject matter that we're teaching, then we do bring in stuff like that, or we'll create handouts or worksheets depending upon the subject that we're doing. If we're doing load calculations, which is heavy in math, then we do hand out worksheets, because understanding the code is one item, but then actually doing the math, it's a refresher for people who don't do math every day of what are the proper steps. Some of the major changes for the 2020 code, one of the most impactful changes for these people will be Article 310, which is the ampacity tables for all wires used in the NEC. It went through a complete rewrite from top to bottom, reorganization, to make it read simpler and a little bit of format change to make it so that they can understand it and get the answers they need quicker within the code, and how they have to apply that. There's tables in there that, and for our local area, are very impactful, where we have to derate the conductors because of ambient temperatures and items like that. And they need to be very familiar with those tables and that part of the code on how it is applied. So 310 is one of the major changes. Another major change was Article 242, which deals with overvoltage. And we used to have a term in the code called transient voltage surge suppressors, and then we simply called it surge protection, and now they're calling that term overvoltage, which is what it actually does. But it includes any type of a surge protection device anywhere in our electrical systems, as large as some of our systems are, or right down to the individual branch circuit where you may plug your computer into, and what is required for surge protection and where it is required, and the proper types to apply for the code. Hunter Technical Services, we have a website under huntertechnicalservices.com, and we offer just a multitude of classes. We are an ICC, International Code Council approved provider, so we can offer these classes and teach them, and these people can get credit for these classes as continuing education credits. And it allows us to customize classes. We do classes for AHJs or inspectors. We do classes for contractors. We do all kinds of classes, and being small, it allows us to customize classes to their needs and then apply for continuing education credits, which allows us to create material specifically to their needs and address where they need help the most.